Hello, this is Spartan Commander, and this is a 472nd Rome Total War Brotherhood game that I've put onto YouTube. As you know, I usually put a battle just on a Saturday, but there was nobody on the computer today, so I thought I would put a Wednesday bonus battle on for you to watch. And it's quite an exciting battle. It's only a 3v3, unusual for me to put a 3v3 on, but I hope you enjoy it. As you can see, it's fought on my favourite map, the Germanic Forest map, as we said before, with a big wide open plains if you want to fight out in the open, or if you want to bring barbarian troops for the woods bonus where you can plan those nasty ambushes. Okay, our first teammate is an RTW player called USSR Cat, and he has bought the Britannia faction. Now, Cat has got what I call a modern Britannia army of 13 Head Hurlers and 6 barbarian warlord chariots. Okay, we're going to come back and have a look at this army a little bit later on, but as I say, this is what I call a modern army. It's certainly not like my old-fashioned balanced army, but as I say, we'll have a talk about that a little bit later on. Our next teammate is Brotherhood member Barclayman. Now, Barclayman has got 11 infantry, 4 archers, 4 cavalry, and a cavalry general unit. Okay, his infantry have got 7 upgrades on. That's an experienced stripe, gold shield, gold attack. And as I say, he's gone old school armoured cavalry general there. And you see he's got 7 upgrades on. Unusual to see the armoured cavalry general these days. As I say, up to about 10 or 11 years ago, we all used to bring that as our Roman general. So I think that's a pretty good balanced army there. Remember that infantry, 7 upgrades and experienced stripe, gold shield, gold attack. And our last teammate is myself, Spartan Commander, who's bought his very old Roman army of 12 infantry and 6 cavalry. So there's our team. Should be an interesting one for you to watch. Okay, at this stage of the battle, I thought I'd talk about a very old, traditional, balanced Britannia army versus a modern Britannia army. Okay, here you can see that USSR Cat here has got 13 Head Hurlers and 6 barbarian warlord chariots. And remember, these heads, every single one of these heads are effective against armour, okay? And because of the casualties they cause, they lower the morale of enemy troops, almost like a fear factor, and make them more susceptible to routing. Now, those 13 Head Hurlers there, those 13 units of Head Hurlers between them can throw, get ready for this, 6,240 effective against armour heads. Each one of those Head Hurlers can throw 6 heads. Okay, so each one of them can throw 6 heads, and 13 units, as I say, equate to 6,240 effective against armour heads. So that is a hell of a lot of firepower there, okay, within those Head Hurlers, okay? But please remember that if you don't tip the balance of the battle in your team's favour by the time they've all thrown their heads, all you've got is 13 units of light infantry, which of course can then be routed by heavy enemy cavalry or heavy enemy infantry. So as I say, if those 13 units of Head Hurlers don't tip the balance in favour of your team, then you will all you'll be left with is light infantry. As I say, those of you that have seen our battle videos in the past will know my very old-fashioned Britannia army consists of 9 chosen swordsmen, just 5 Head Hurlers, and 6 barbarian warlord chariots, okay? It's a very balanced army, but I'm very glad that I've used that balanced army in the past, because very often those chosen swordsmen have actually turned the battle, has actually changed the direction of the battle with those chosen swordsmen. So it'll be interesting to see how well these 13 units of Head Hurlers do on the modern day battlefield. And as I say, these chariots here, remember, Britannia's got 2 lots of chariots. You've got the ordinary heavy chariots, and you've got the barbarian warlord chariots. Now, the ordinary heavy chariots, I think, are about 580 denarii each, and they have got 3 hit points, okay? Now, these barbarian warlord chariots are over 1,000 denarii each, but they have got 5 hit points and good stamina. And over the years, I've experimented with the ordinary heavy chariots and these barbarian warlord chariots. And to be honest with you, these barbarian warlord chariots seem to last a lot longer during the course of the battle than the ordinary heavy chariots. Okay, so there we go. There is a modern Britannia army. Let's see how well it does on the battlefield against good players. Okay, as I say, 6,240 effective against armour heads there. And here is the other team. We have RTW player Belisarius. A lot of you know Belisarius, very good RTW player. Now, Belisarius has got 3 archers, 11 infantry and 6 cavalry. If you look at the upgrades on his cavalry, can you see he's got 8 upgrades on his cavalry, 2 experienced stripes, gold shield, gold attack. So make no mistake, there's some serious cavalry, 6 units of them as well. Okay, so 3 archers, 11 infantry, 6 cavalry. I think that's a pretty good balanced army there. And our next teammate is Brotherhood member Lando. Now Lando has got 10 infantry, 6 archers, 3 cavalry, and an armoured cavalry general. Okay, 10 infantry, 6 archers, 3 heavy cavalry, and a cavalry armoured general. Quick look at the upgrades on his cavalry. Okay, he also has got 8 upgrades. 2 experience stripes, gold shield, gold attack. So again, very serious cavalry. I see his armoured cavalry general there, old school, fully upgraded. 9 upgrades, 3 experience stripes, gold shield, gold attack, plus 2 hit points on that unit. So as I say, that's very old school, and as I said before, up to about 10 or 11 years ago, we all used to bring out our Roman armoured cavalry general as our general before most of us switched to an infantry general there. So that'd be a pretty interesting army to see how well it does during the course of the battle. And our third teammate is Brotherhood member Mad King, who has bought the Macedon faction. Now Mad King has got 14 pikes, 4 cavalry, and 2 archers. Okay, and as you know, those of you that have fought against him when he brings Macedon, he's a very good Macedonian general. As you can see, his cavalry are hiding in the woods there. So there's the enemy team. It should be a great battle for you to watch. As I say, it's just a short 3v3 battle. Okay, it's very early stage of the battle. As you know, Lando, very aggressive, very attacking player here. He will be running his archers forward here. I think he's got 2 main targets. Obviously, he'd like to take out Barclayman's archers here, but his main targets would be the Head Hurlers. He knows what damage those Head Hurlers can do against well-armoured infantry like Roman troops. So obviously, he'd like to take out those archers first, then take out those Head Hurlers there. You notice our Britannian ally. Britannia ally is stood at the rear of our battle formation there, because obviously he wants to keep away from arrow damage there. But in the meantime here, you can see the Barclayman's moving his archers back a little bit there. He may well be aware of that Roman armoured cavalry general there, which is moving around here now. It wouldn't surprise me if Lando smashed into the flank of Barclayman's archers there. You know what Lando's like, very aggressive, very attacking with this armoured cavalry general. Bang, as he charges in there. Did you see he took some pilers there, threw some pilers into him, hardly did any damage at all up with that fast moving unit. Now will the chariots come down and chase him away? Oh no, Barclayman's general's going to chase him away at this stage. He probably bring an probably bring in a heavy cavalry unit in as well there, just to make sure that if they catch that SBQR general, yeah, there you go, there's the armoured there's the heavy cavalry unit there. If they capture Lando's general there, make sure that they probably rout him, but they're pulling back now. Now all the time there in that little chase, Lando's archers were concentrating on Barclayman's archers there, and look at the casualties that Barclayman's archer units have suffered from those archer units there. Okay, so that was like kind of like, almost like a distraction tactic there by Lando to try and pull Barclayman's concentration away there, allowing his archers then to shoot up Barclayman's archers there, if you like. Right, can you see here Lando now has stopped his general, and that could be a bad move. If Barclayman's got his pilers ready there you go, can you see? Now he could suffer some casualties there. Bang! See those pilers going in? Took out a lot of Lando's general armoured unit there. I think the problem is sometimes you can get a little bit complacent with the way you use this unit, and there was no reason for him to stop still like that there, and there you are, he's attracted a lot of piler damage there. Meanwhile, over on our left flank, the way that the Macedonians are looking here, it wouldn't surprise me if they did a left flanking action here. You can see 14 pikes coming around there. Remember, those pikes kill barbarian troops, including chariots, really quickly. So we'll have to be aware of that. Okay, I can see here that our Britannia ally here, Cat, is now charging his couple of his units towards the enemy archer unit there, and bang, as it charges in there, smashes into those that archer unit there, probably killing and routing that archer unit. Notice the Macedonian general's pulling his cavalry back. He doesn't really want to get into much of a scrap with those chariots there. If you notice, I'm bringing my cavalry across as well. Just pause the game for a second here. I'm going to bring my cavalry across as well to support the chariots if the Macedonian cavalry got involved. Okay, but I see that he's bought a pike unit out there now, so I should probably pull my cavalry back, and it'd be a good idea for the charioteers, because if the chariots just touch those pikes, they'll lose chariots. Now watch this. See that? Just brushed past it. That just those chariots that killed 2 units taken out there. That, or a lot of those chariots taken out there by those pikes there. Just snagging on those pikes there. Can you see the damage that those pikes and spear units can do against chariots there? Okay, meanwhile here in the centre you can see Lando moving towards Barclayman with his infantry. If you notice, I'm moving my infantry forward as well. I was just thinking of maybe if we could maybe double hit Lando there with our armies as I'm running forward. It wouldn't surprise me if Lando decided to either pull back or pull over to the flank towards his Macedonian ally, which he's doing there. Lando looks like he's going to pull his archers back here as well. Okay, now like we said earlier, the Macedonians look like they're going to do a left flanking action here. I've got my cavalry out on the left flank here, but of course against pikes or spears I would have to be very careful how I use my cavalry, because as we know, pikes and spears have got anti-cavalry bonus. Okay, so at this stage of the battle you can see I'm moving back here. I'm going up against Lando and Mad King's army here to try and stop them left flanking us. Okay, so I'm facing two armies there, and meanwhile over here you can see that Barclay man here has moved forward towards I think there's some SPQR units and Julii units there. If you notice, our Britannia ally with all his head hurlers, most of them are at the back of the battlefield there, just out of archer range at the moment. But sometime he's going to have to bring them forward here, because at the moment it's basically a 2v3, so he's going to have to bring them forward. Yes, he's using his chariots quite well, but those head hurlers could prove invaluable with the firepower that they've got. Imagine 6,240 effective against armor heads coming in on, say, those Macedonians. Imagine the casualties that that would cause. Okay, so you can see Mad King still moving right here with his Macedonian pikes, knowing that basically our cavalry are no good against him there, because obviously with those anti-cavalry pike and spear bonuses there, we won't pose much of a threat with our cavalry. Right, you can see Barclay man here moving more over towards my troops now, as obviously he doesn't want to be isolated and double teamed there by SPQR and Julii enemy armies there. If you notice, I'm moving my army back over there as well to maybe integrate with his troops there. But the Macedonians are closing in. You can see the Macedonian cavalry here attacking the head hurlers. A couple of head hurler units that were there, like you can see. Nice move there by Mad King, taking out those head hurler units if you can. Remember though, those are light infantry, they can run quite fast as well. So let's hope they can outrun those those cavalry if they've got a bit of a head start. Okay, you can see we're charging our cavalry back in there, both Barclay man and myself here, to try and neutralise those Macedonian cavalry attacks. But here you go, you can see myself and Barclay man here have kind of integrated our armies against SPQR and Julii there. Okay, closing in. But also you can see the Macedonians have got round our flank and could even get in behind us here. Okay, so as you can see here, things not looking very good for us really on the battlefield here. Say we got a few head hurler units here that Cat has brought over, and as I say, we've got our cavalry on our left here to maybe neutralise those Macedonian cavalry units. We've also got some chariots over here as well to lower the morale of enemy troops, as we talked about before, therefore destabilising them and making them more susceptible to routing. But as I say, our cavalry and chariots don't want anything to do with those pikes, so we need to keep being very careful with the way we use our chariots and cavalry on that flank. Okay, so you can see here now I'm moving my infantry over to engage the Macedonian general. There, if you notice there, I think I've still got a lot of pilers left, so I could do a lot of damage to those Macedonians there. If you notice here, I'm charging into the flank of those units. Can you see Mad King's got units facing in different directions here? He's got some facing forward, there, some facing back, some facing to the rear. So I think what it is, he was a bit worried about being attacked by both cavalry and infantry here, so he's trying to cover all the approaches to his army with all our cavalry, head hurlers and chariots, some chariots over here and some head hurlers here on the left of his formation. So as I say, you can see chariots and the head hurlers and our cavalry there ready to charge in when we feel the time is right. We got archers also shooting into those Macedonians as well. But as I say, I've turned my infantry to face the Macedonians there, throwing a lot of pilers in. But look at the predicament of Barclay man here. He's got SPQR units in like a V formation in front of him, with archers shooting into him all the time. There you can see the V formation of SPQR, plus you've got all that Julii infantry coming into his flank. Plus, I'd like to draw your attention to these 6 well-upgraded cavalry. Remember, these have got 8 upgrades. 2 experience stripes, gold shield, gold attack. Now, if he places that cavalry, say, round about there, he could then smash straight into the flank of Barclay man and roll Barclay man's army up, no problem. Or smash into the rear of my army, take my general out maybe, and maybe cause a mass rout with those cavalry. So keep an eye on that cavalry, because they could prove pivotal to the outcome of the battle. Okay, meanwhile here I'm aggressively attacking those Macedonian units. I'm throwing in loads of pilers before I'm attacking, trying to cause the maximum amount of casualties I can with my pilers before I get into a hand-to-hand battle with these Macedonians. Okay, so you can see I'm charging units forward and still throwing pilers into them. Meanwhile, we've got a couple of head hurler units over there who, make no doubt about it, will be throwing those effective against armor heads into the Macedonians. I'm having to pull my cavalry back now because there's a couple of pike units coming towards me. But as you can see at the back, the vast majority of the head hurlers and chariots are still stood at the back of the battlefield at the moment. I'm presuming he's waiting for the correct moment to bring them in. But as I say, for most of this battle, it's been almost a 2v3 here. So it'd be interesting to see how we managed to do that, especially towards the end of the battle with that Julii cavalry threatening us on that flank. Okay, so you can see this barbarian warlord chariot here doing a lot of damage to enemy troops. Can you see there? Chopping down enemy troops there with that one unit, lowering the morale of enemy troops and causing a lot of casualties there with that barbarian warlord chariot unit there. Make no mistake there, they'd be doing a lot of damage with that, and as I say, lowering the morale of those troops as well that are facing Barclayman's infantry. As I say here, I'm attacking those Macedonians. I'm taking units around the flank of those Macedonians. We've got cavalry in behind them. Okay, let's just pause the game for a second here. So I'm pinning and holding the front of those Macedonian units there, where I'm going to take infantry units around the flank or around the rear of those Macedonian units to hit them in the rear. We've got the head hurlers there. Make no mistake there, they will be throwing those effective against armor heads into that Macedonian unit there. So they will be causing a lot of casualties there. Plus, I've got my 6 cavalry out there ready to charge in when I see the time is right. Okay, but of course I've got to avoid those Macedonian pikemen with my cavalry. Barclayman's got his cavalry there as well. Okay, so that's the general overview. But do you remember the danger we talked about earlier? Okay, can you see the SBQR troops attacking aggressively Barclayman's troops? But look at those Julii cavalry. Remember we were talking about these earlier? He had 2 targets. Either he could roll up Barclayman there, or he could smash into the rear of my engaged unit, and it looks like he's going to go for Barclayman here. Now remember, those cavalry have got 8 upgrades: 2 experience stripes, gold shield, gold attack, and here they come, and bang, as they smash into the flank of Barclayman's engaged infantry there. Good news for us, we just routed the Macedonian general, but Barclayman here is in a lot of trouble with that massive cavalry here that just smashed into him. Now remember, Barclayman's infantry's got an experience stripe on, so it's going to help them to hold a bit longer there. I think gold shield, gold attack, those would have all routed by now, but that experience stripe is helping him to hold. But as you can see there, he is being kind of rolled up there from right to left as we look at the battle from this particular part. Okay, so things not looking very good there. Barclayman's charging his cavalry in to try and help his infantry, but his cavalry have now been routed. Okay, so for all intents and purposes here, most of Barclayman's infantry have now been taken out, and I think the others will be routed pretty quickly there. Okay, and now the enemy infantry are starting to charge into the rear of my engaged troops here, into the rear of my Scipii troops. Okay, so as you can see here, things not looking very good for our team. I've got Macedonian troops coming in at the front of me, and I've got enemy troops smashing into the rear of me here. So my guess is that my army will pretty surely rout there with the impact, plus all those enemy cavalry and infantry going to charge into the back of me there as well. So as I say, my guess is that my infantry will be routed as well. And our Britannia allies, head hurlers, and a couple of his chariot units are still out at the rear of the battlefield. I fear if he doesn't bring them in soon, it may well be too late. So I don't know what all of you watching this think. I think unless he gets the timing right with those Britannia head hurlers there, I think we've, as you can see, we've lost the game here. Okay, you can see the enemy troops now starting to charge into the rear of my engaged Scipii troops. Cavalry and infantry charging in as well. The Macedonian general's charging in with his pikes as well. So as I say, my troops will probably be mass routing pretty soon there, I would think there. Okay, let's just pause the game for a second. So as I say, you got enemy SBQR, cavalry and infantry, Julii infantry, Macedonian pikemen, all those troops there. Barclay Man's, all his army's now been routed, all his infantry's been routed. There we've got my cavalry out there ready to charge in. But of course I've got to be aware of these pikes here, so I'm going to have to be very selective on how I use my cavalry, but maybe it's going to be too late to use them. We got a couple of units of head hurlers here. You can still see they've got ammunition because they're carrying heads. When they run out of ammunition, they've just got their swords in their hands, so they've still got some heads left. But all those head hurlers there, he needs to bring them in soon, or as I say, I think as you can see here by the general overview, all these head hurlers here need to be brought in just to try and make a game of it, really, because with Barclay Man, all of Barclay Man's infantry been taken out, and my infantry about to mass rout, I think. Okay, you can see he's using his barbarian warlord chariots here on the enemy archers there. So he's taking out a few of those archers there, stopping them shooting into the rear of us. But as I say here, if they charge in, all those troops there charge into the rear of my Scipii infantry, then as I say, my troops will mass rout, I think, there. Remember, all my infantry is an old army there, so they've all got an experience stripe on, so they'll hold longer than just gold shield, gold attack. But with the odds against them here, I think things not looking very good. Okay, you can see the head hurlers are being brought in now. Okay, I can see the head hurlers are moving forward now. Let's just pause the game for a second. So these chariot attacks here have taken out, remember Lando had those 6 units of archers. Those chariots have just taken out those 6 units of archers there. So that was a nice hit there by the Britannia general there, stopping all those archers shooting into us as they've been shooting into us all through the battle there. So he's just taken them out with those chariots there. So that was a nice move by our Britannia ally. And you can see he's running all his head hurlers forward now. Okay, now has he timed this right? Do you think those head hurlers are going to turn the course of the battle? Because for all intents and purposes, it looks like we've lost the battle here. Are those head hurlers going to turn the battle here? Are they going to be a game changer? Right, you can see them now. They're kind of revving up, and now they're going to start throwing in those. Remember, every single one of those heads are effective against armour and cause devastation to well-armoured troops like the Macedonians, like Roman troops. Okay, so the firepower that mass of head hurlers there have got. Don't forget, they're fully laden with heads. They haven't thrown any up to now. And as you can see, the massive casualties they cause there with those heads made those units rout. Don't forget, we've got all this enemy SBQR and Julii troops there moving towards us. And I think we've taken out most of the Macedonians. You can see that Cat is using his chariots here, attacking the enemy infantry here with those barbarian warlord chariots, lowering their morale as well as causing casualties there. So he's doing well there with his chariots. But as I say, those head hurlers are fully laden with those effective against armour heads. Right, can you see that Julii cavalry looking to take out the head hurlers? If you notice there, I've blocked them with infantry. I've got a couple of infantry units I've blocked them, those cavalry with. Plus he's bringing his chariots over to cover his head hurlers. I'm charging my cavalry in, trying to take out those advancing enemy troops. And now we've managed to take out those Julii cavalry that were going to take out the head hurlers there. Okay, my infantry held them there with those head hurlers, peppered them with effective against armour heads, causing massive casualties. Don't forget, the enemy are the Julii and the SBQR troops moving towards us here. Okay. And as I say, all Barclay Man's infantry have been taken out, but he's still got some of his cavalry left, and we've got all those head hurlers left there, which have they've thrown a few heads in, but I still feel they've got a lot of ammunition left to be able to bombard the enemy troops there. Okay, now we've taken out all the enemy cavalry. They won't be able to rout those head hurlers, and they're just, if they keep moving forward, they're just going to run into a massive rain of heads coming down on them. Okay, you can see those head hurlers moving forward. You can see my infantry engaging. See my cavalry locked and loaded. I'm charging them in now. And bang! And my cavalry smash into those Julii troops there. That was a massive hit there with my cavalry. Plus those, I'm throwing pilers in as well. Plus those effective against armour heads. All coming in on those Julii troops. Okay, so maybe Cat has brought those head hurlers in just at the right time there. Because I said, for all intents and purposes, the battle looked lost, I think. And somehow we've managed to turn it around. I think we've just taken out the Julii general there. Our Britannia allies, a general's just been taken out. but we've routed those couple of infantry units that are moving in towards us. Okay, you can see those effective against armor heads really raining down onto these SBQR infantry there. We saw it earlier, there's loads of heads going to go in on them, and that will be, I would think that will rout that those couple of units there. Okay, you can still see there's some Macedonian units left there, and some SBQR units left, plus their archers. I see some of Lando's archers that are routed by those chariots have rallied now. Right, now see the absolute raining down of those effective against armor heads onto these Macedonian troops there. I mean, remember, every single one of those heads are effective against armor. Look at them raining down onto those Macedonian units. The casualties that they cause will lower the morale and surely make them rout. I'm attacking with my infantry as well to give them a final push, and those Macedonian units now have been routed with a combination of effective against armor heads really causing massive casualties, and my infantry hitting them at the same time. Okay, you can see my cavalry charging through my own troops and the Britannia troops, bang, into those SBQR infantry. Bang, as they smash in there, routing them. I'm now going to take the cavalry on through, probably, to take on those enemy Julii infantry that are behind. I remember those Julii infantry will be running into routing troops that will lower their morale even more, and probably will cause them to rout, which they've done now. So it looks like we've gone on to win the battle here. Which I feel earlier when you were watching this, did you feel the battle was lost? Maybe when you watched it there. So as you can see here, we've routed the last of the enemy troops there, with the combination of head hurlers, cavalry and infantry attack there. So I think Cat maybe brought his head hurlers in maybe just at the right time there towards the end of the battle, or do you think maybe should have brought them in a bit quicker possibly? I don't know what you think there, but the battlefield was quite condensed. As I say, it's only a 3v3 battle here today. Okay, so just like to say, really well played to everybody in the game there. Everybody played well. I didn't see really any mistakes by anybody, so once again, really well played to everybody in the game. And as you can see there, it's a close victory, as we thought it might be. If you notice here, the highest kills in the game, I've managed to scrape in the highest kills of the game there, 1,981, so that's not too bad. And I'd just like to draw your attention here. Can you notice that my Roman army is the smallest Roman army by far on the battlefield? If you look at the other players' Roman armies, can you see how small my army is there? So maybe it's not the size of the army that you bring, but it's the way that you use it in combination with your allies that can get you some good kills. Okay, so I'm very pleased with the way that old army performed in that battle. As I say, I thought we might have lost it. Barclay man, he did well. I'd like to say Belisarius did quite well there. Probably didn't get the kills that he wanted, but that cavalry charge smashing to the side of Barclay man, that could have been a game changer. Lando did well with his units there. Mad King probably didn't get the kills that he wanted there with his Macedonians, but he did have a lot of head hurlers causing his units massive damage there. So well done to the other team. I'd like to say really well done to Barclay man. He probably didn't get the kills he wanted either, but of course he was smashed by that Julii cavalry that rolled him up from right to left, plus he was fighting SBQR and Julii infantry there. So actually he did quite well. And Cat there bringing his head hurlers in towards the end of the battle. Do you think that was just the right time to bring them in, or do you feel that he might have been able to bring them in earlier? I don't know what you guys think about that. But I just thought it was interesting to see a modern Britannia army in action, as you've seen mostly when I've showed Britannia, my old-fashioned balanced army. So I thought, I'd even things up a bit to show you how well a modern Britannia army could do, as well as one of my old balanced Britannia armies. Okay, I hope you enjoyed this Wednesday bonus battle. I thought it was an interesting one there, really concentrating on the Britannia armies. Spartan Commander saying bye for now, and see you Saturday. Bye-bye.